Hello, friends, and welcome to Bants and Burgers.
Are we not doing?
What?
Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Is that not what I meant to do? Anyway, no, we're rolling, baby. Let's go. We got the burritos, we got the Pepsi.
Let's go.
You just,
I'm so
what is
sorry.
your deal with our intros?
I'm just gonna shut up.
Anyway, welcome to Bants and Burgers. I'm Jarrod. This is Bonnie.
I'm Bonnie.
And let's get to business. I'm eating burritos, and we're going to talk about nutrition today.
Hells. Today we're
yeah.
Bants and burritos. What have you got in your burrito, Jarrod?
I got everything except for beans. I'm not a big fan. I don't know. They're healthy, but I don't like it. So I just fuck
like
the
it.
beans.
Yeah, and I'm Bants and Pepsi Max today because I'm going to save my calories for later.
How many calories are you on right now?
2,100. So I'm still rolling in the food really. But on Friday and Saturday I left all my I can't fucking speak today. I had all my calories early and then I left myself with nothing at the night time. So I'm going to be smart today. Thank myself later.
Such a good girl. Sometimes I ask my clients how many calories they're on and they don't have a fucking clue. They're like, I don't know. I'm like,
well, what have you been doing?
Shit.
Yeah, no, 2,100. So I can't complain really. But yeah, I'm still going to save that for later because we'll be training a bit later and then I will have a big feast. So keen. You. How's your week been, Jarrod?
It's been good. I've been doing a lot of business stuff this week.
Business things.
Yeah, business things, self-development. I've been listening to audiobooks.
Fuck yeah.
I've been loving it, actually.
How good?
Yeah,
What
I
ones?
finished the one thing.
Someone
week.
mentioned that too. I think so. Yeah. Okay, I've heard of that. Yeah.
The one thing. I've got an all three. I'll get up later and I'll tell everyone.
Yeah, nice.
Who it's by. But one thing, and now I'm reading attached now. Or I'm listening.
I want that.
I'm too retarded to read.
Yeah.
So I just listen to shit in the car.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's like 20 minutes to work and back, and I do it twice a day. So it's like it all adds up.
Yeah.
And honestly, dude, I'm so bad at reading. I would never do it otherwise.
Yeah.
So I just do it on the way to work, and I've already finished a book, and it's been like 3 weeks. So
how good's that?
Yeah. So we're gonna try and get maybe like a dozen books done this year, I reckon.
Yeah, that's a good
at least. Yeah, and that's my goal because that's a dozen more than what I'd usually do.
Yeah, so good. So I wanted to say, so by the time you guys are listening to this, we would already be 2 podcasts deep, and this will be our third. But we just dropped our first one last Sunday, and we are stoked with like the feedback and all, the people reaching out to us, telling us they listen. So thank you so much for all the support on that end. We are over the moon with how 100%. It all went.
Yeah, thank you heaps. And I do appreciate all the messages and obviously, people sharing on their stories. That really goes a long way with 100%. Getting some reach in that. So we appreciate everything. Woohoo! Woo! And please keep it up. And and if you are listening, just reach out, let us know what you think. And, if we can improve as well, we're all about self-development.
Yeah, constructive criticism, come at us.
Let us know what else you guys want and, we'll try and add it in.
Yeah. So a little while ago or last week, I popped on my story asking people to ask in questions about nutrition, and I also asked what things confuse people about the whole nutrition thing. So today we're going to do a whole podcast just based on the responses that I received. I think we're just going to read out the questions, read out the struggles that people have and kind of go from there. So should we get straight to it?
Hell yeah. I'll eat my burrito. You do the first question.
All right, cool. So first question we've got is how do I know what calories and macros I should have? Okay, cool. So really basic way of finding out your maintenance calories. So for those of you that don't know, your maintenance calories is the amount of food that you can eat per day and maintain your current weight. So if you were wanting to lose weight, you would need to eat below that number. If you're wanting to gain size or put on weight, you would need to eat above that number. Really easy way of finding out an estimate. Let's just put it out there. They're all estimates. There's no real way of finding out your exact maintenance apart from if you were to eat a certain amount of calories and see how your body responds. But the thing I use is the TDEE calculator, which is online. So that is, for those of you that don't know, your total daily energy expenditure. So that is just pretty much how many calories you're burning per day, given all the exercise you're doing, all that kind of stuff. So that's a really good place to start, putting in all your details into there. So you put in your age, your height, or your activity level, all that kind of stuff, and that'll just give you a kind of an estimate. And then, depending on your goal, you'll kind of go from there. But I think a really good place to start would be to eat at maintenance, see how your body responds, and then if you want to lose weight, eat under that. If you want to eat, if you want to put on weight, then eat above that number.
Yeah, 100%. It is just a trial and error thing. So you really have to have a look, eat a certain amount for a little bit, like 1-2 weeks.
Yeah.
Track your weight every morning at the same time, so you get a relatively good idea about how your body's responding, and then go from there. If you start losing weight on that certain amount of calories that the website says or whatever, you're in a deficit. If you start gaining weight, you're in a surplus, etc. And then you can adjust accordingly. So if you want to go down, you need to reduce your calories. Simple as that.
Yeah.
If it's not reducing already.
Yeah, 100%. And that's just what, we do as coaches. And then, there's a number of things that we take into account. But that's if you're wanting to do it on your own, that is a good place to start. As for your macros, so for those of you that don't know, your macros stands for macronutrients. So in all the calories, they can be brought off into 3 different main types. There's a few others, but we'll just go talk about your protein, carbs, and fats today. So a really good place to start, one that like a basic one that I will use for my clients is figuring out, so if you got your body weight and then you would times that by anywhere from 1.8 to like 2.2 for like your standard person. You might go a little bit above that in some instances.
Females, right?
Yeah, for females. That's what I use for my clients.
And for mine, for males, 2.5 usually.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it really depends, what your goals are. If you're looking to gain weight, I would say eat on the low side of the range. And if you're looking to lose weight, eat on the high side of the range. And I think a really good point to touch on here, or what I wanted to say is like the higher the protein you eat, the more calories you're going to burn, because your body actually takes a lot more energy to break down protein than it does to break down carbs or to break down fats. And I read like a little research article on this the other week because I was always interested and I always preached that, but I didn't know the exact numbers. And this is actually so crazy. Let's just say we had 100 calories of protein. It takes 25 calories of that to break it down.
Yeah, okay,
so
cool.
You're actually only getting 75 calories worth of that. With a fat, it's 98.
Yeah, so
it only takes 2 calories to break that down. So you're actually getting a lot more of the calories going into your body than you would be if you're eating protein. Carbohydrates is 92. So you're breaking down 8%. So protein is so much higher. So like almost 3 times the amount of energy to break down protein as it does carbs, and almost 12 times.
Yeah, and I think it's the same. I don't know the numbers, but it's the same with fiber as well. So that's why it is important that you are filling your diet with, veggies and hitting your fiber targets, because that also has a good thermogenic effect. But yeah, another thing on that is if you are trying to gain weight, so protein has a good satiety rate, so you feel a lot fuller when you eat protein. So if you are trying to gain size and your calories are up there, that's why we say you can go on the lower end of the protein, because otherwise you're going to be so full. And more protein doesn't really mean more gains, really. It's just like adequate protein is necessary.
Yeah.
And then, when you are dieting, you can bring it that little bit higher just to keep fuller for longer and to help with the fat burning process. Then with your fats, I would say, like for females especially, I would not really go any lower than 0.8 grams per body weight, per kilo of body weight.
So important.
Yeah, so important. I mean, like in the lower end of comp prep, if you were looking at, running that route, you could for a few weeks drop to like 0.6, but you really wouldn't want to go much lower than that. And it just is dependent on the female, and you'd want to keep an eye on the menstrual cycle, all that kind of stuff, to make sure that everything is traveling smoothly.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, that is because like your fats are so like they govern your hormone profile, or they have a big impact on it. So for a male, like I wouldn't go any less than 1 gram per kilo of whatever they weigh usually, or a little bit lower, but really like don't go below that value. You're going to affect your hormones. So, as a female, you may lose your period if your fats go low. I know a lot of girls are coming in like, oh, I've lost my period. Like, I'm eating X amount of carbs. I'm like, well, there's your problem.
100%. And like that's a good place to start. I usually go the 1 gram per kilo body weight. I think that's a really good place to start. And then you can make up the rest with carbs, but it just kind of depends. Like, what do you prefer eating? Do you prefer eating more fats? I know a lot of people that love, your eggs, your feta, all that kind of stuff. So if you prefer that, then you could go on the higher end with fats, and then vice versa. But it just depends how you feel really for the rest. As long as you're hitting those minimums that you really need, then the rest is kind of up to you.
Yeah. If you're not sure, get a coach, baby.
Yeah, 100%. It's like so, easy to get a coach for, even just 12 weeks just to learn all this stuff and really, drill it into you. And then it's like a lifetime of knowledge that you've got there just from that like 12 weeks. Hey.
Yeah, 100%. And like, yeah, it's honestly not hard. You will pick up on it very quickly if you've got a professional helping you. So yeah.
For sure.
Move on.
All right, Jarrod, how long should I cut for?
How long should I cut for? For me, man, that really depends from person to person. It depends on so many things like mentality, what your goals are, like what your starting point is, like what you, where you want to be, like short-term, long-term goals. Like if you're looking to get your physique to a absolute pinnacle level and you're coming to me and you're, 45% body fat, like you'd be cutting down until you get within 20%. I reckon.
Yeah, as long as you need. Hey, like as long as you need.
Look, I would be doing it until you get to what I would recommend it, or what I would consider a healthy, body fat level. So.
And I think the longest I would prep someone without, well, not prep, but I would, cut someone down without some kind of a diet break would be the 12 weeks. Like you would want to incorporate some kind of a refeed or a diet break and then keep going until you've hit your goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, just as dependent. But I think with like higher body fat, you can do that really like aggressive, get them out of a shit place. Like, people are like, oh, don't drop your calories too low, but being overweight is unhealthy as well. So drop those calories, get in, get out kind of thing, I reckon.
Honestly, like, I've had like overweight clients and stuff and like a lot of the times, like all you have to do is put them on a maintenance of like, a normal body weight, say like, it depends on their height, I guess, but and then just keep them on that at a higher protein level and just have them fucking training, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
And you probably don't even have to touch their calories until they get to that body point that you're looking for, There may be a little bit of adaptation, but like not much. Like if you're looking at a seriously overweight person. Now,
someone who's never dieted, like then they'll respond quite quickly a lot of the time if the compliance is there.
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, like I think this question is really important to be addressed like on the lean end of the spectrum. How long should I diet for? Look, like if your calories are getting super fucking low, like it's time to reverse and then go again. You know what I mean? Sometimes, for example, like, and this is like an extreme example, like my first actual serious cut to get down to like a fairly lean level, like, took me 36 weeks, say, which is a fucking long ass time. But my calories went so low that, I couldn't possibly get any leaner healthily. Yeah. So what you then do is just do what we call a reverse, where we slowly bump our calories back up. We train hard, and most of those extra calories, they're just going to go into building muscle and then, bringing our maintenance back up to a reasonable level. And then what we want to do, like, because over that period, you're not going to really gain any fat because you're in the gym, slogging it out. Even if you're on higher calories, you're just going to be pushing more weight around.
Yeah.
And then once you get to that good maintenance level, you go again, and then you've got a bigger surplus of calories to drop down.
Yeah, that's just like we always talk about metabolic adaptation. So that's when you diet, your body slows down slowly. It works the other way too. So if you pump more calories into your body, starts putting out more energy, and you're not necessarily going to put on weight. You're just going to start having more energy and having more life about you. But I think with this one as well, another thing that I always think about with my clients is you take their kind of mentality and their dieting history and things like that into account too. So if I've got someone who's, quite, strong, got a strong mentality, they've got no issues with food, that kind of a thing. Maybe they've got a little bit of body fat to lose. Some people like that can, get away with doing an aggressive dieting phase in and out, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, the work's done, that kind of thing. If you've got someone who has a bit of, a history of, maybe yo-yo dieting, or they're just, they go through stages, then, maybe a slow and steady dieting phase would be appropriate for them. So I think that's a big factor in it too, the mentality that you've got towards food and that kind of thing.
I think the biggest thing for me is like when a person comes to me and they're on far too low calories, like if you're a female and you're anywhere near 1200, start fucking putting more calories in your mouth, like, because that is like the limit.
Yeah.
And if you actually mathematically work that out, like if you are hitting your minimum fats and your minimum protein at 1200 calories, you've got 100 calories left of carbs, which is absolutely nothing.
Oh.
Like,
I think everyone gets obsessed with this. Like I've heard so many people say, "Oh, to lose weight, you need to be on 1,200 calories."
Absolutely,
and that is like,
that's mental.
No way. Like it's just wild. And I think I'm like a prime example of this at the moment. Like I've spent the last like 2 years. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've attempted to do a few cuts here and there and just haven't really been in the right mindset for it. Like I haven't made the progress exactly what I wanted. I've, dropped a few kilos here and there. But I've spent, I reckon, the last at least 2 years at maintenance, building my calories up. I got to about like 2,700 was maintaining, and now I'm cutting, dropping weight.
Much healthier.
Dropping weight quite efficiently at the moment on 2,100 calories. Now that number's specific to me, but that just goes to show you don't have to hate your life while you're dieting. Like if you do it the right way and spend the time and don't look at it as like a quick fix, then you can do it and still kind of live your best life,
Yeah. Think of it this way. You get to your goal weight and you're at 1,100 calories. What happens when you go out on a Friday, Saturday and you sink a few fucking beers or cocktails or whatever with your friends or a burger and now you're up at 2,500 and all of a sudden your body's stacking on a heap of weight. Whereas, if you do it the way we're talking about, where slow and steady down, reverse back up, go again, et cetera, build your calories up at maintenance, then, you're in Bonnie's situation where you've got, 2,700 calories, like all you need to do is like volumize the first part of your day. So, you might eat like 1,500 calories up until dinner or whatever. Yeah. And then look, you got like 1,200 calories for you to go out and fucking have a good time. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. You're not going to stack on weight at the end of the day. So,
well, you'd think so.
You would hope not.
You would hope not.
That depends.
Sometimes I still manage to do it sometimes.
How many espresso martinis she has out on town.
Yeah, look, love an espresso. All right, cool. So next question, ways to hit your protein target when reducing meat. All right, beautiful. So I've actually got a few clients that are transitioning at the moment. And I think, you've got all your standard kind of foods where you've got, your tempeh and your tofu. I'm a big fan of the corn mince. It's Quorne. That's from Woolies. You've got your egg whites, all that kind of stuff. And then your protein powder is probably going to be your best friend. So if you're vegan, you can get some good quality plant-based ones. They're not going to taste as good, but or if you're just reducing meat, then protein powder is going to be your best friend. Usually with the clients I find that are reducing meat or they are vegetarian, they will need to go on like a lower protein. So I'd probably put them on around about 1.8 grams of protein per kilo of body weight, depending on how much they were struggling to hit that protein target. And then they generally would have a higher carb because a lot of your protein sources like your beans, legumes, all that kind of stuff are going to be high in carbs. So generally that is just the way it would work out. But there's so many options these days. Like, you go out to eat and there's so many different vegetarian options. So, I think it would just be about doing the research. Another thing to do would be to follow some good accounts. Like there'd be so many good Instagram accounts for vegetarians that would have, good ideas and things like that. So I would definitely suggest doing that. But I think it's just about trial and error, hey?
100%. Vegan protein, all that good stuff. 100%.
Yeah. And I think, there's nothing wrong with getting your protein from protein. If it's a good source of whey protein, then go for gold, I think.
Yeah. All right. I got a question. Thinking the less you eat than hearing that you need to eat 6 meals a day. Okay. Which would you prefer? I mean, I would rather eat heaps, don't you? And then live your life.
But I think what they're saying here is they're saying like they need to eat less to lose weight, and then now you need to eat 6 meals a day to lose weight. They're a bit confused because people say that they say, "Oh, you got to eat 6 meals a day." Blah blah.
I think we sort of touched on this in that previous question that we did about how long we should cut for, and like I said, you cannot cut on like a super low amount. So I think like you really need to if you're a newcomer in the gym and you don't know the answer to these sort of questions, my advice to you is to start hitting your protein target. So if you're a female, 150 minimum, and then as a male, probably around 200-ish, and then go from there, and then just eat to satiety and then start there and then see what your body does. And then I guarantee you either one of two things will happen. Either A, you'll start losing weight, or B, you'll start getting super hungry and your metabolism will start flushing through those nutrients quicker and quicker, and then you will start losing weight again. So, So, I mean, obviously it depends on, whether you're a small person or a large person, but, if you start getting hungrier and hungrier, keep eating to satiety. Like, if you're training and you're hitting your protein, the general what I'll do is just generally just do that to start with, and just experiment for a few weeks or maybe even a month, and just see how you go.
Yeah.
As long as you're hitting those values, I think like that is a really good place to start.
I think it can be confusing though, like because, everyone talks about energy balance, you need to eat less, move more, and then all of a sudden you're hearing 6 meals a day. I think the people that do eat the 6 meals a day and they are dieting, they would be eating high volume foods. But generally what we just touched on before in one of the previous questions about your metabolism adapting. So if you're going to eat less calories, your metabolism is going to slowly adapt to those calories, and that's all it's going to need. You're going to move less during the day because you don't have much energy. So what we're kind of saying is, on a general rule, you would like to lose body fat at, as high calories as possible. So if you're going to be eating 1,200 calories, you're not going to have much energy. You're going to sit on the couch all day. Whereas you could probably go to 1,500, have a bit more energy, you'd be able to go for walks and get the same results.
You'll be so surprised. Like, yeah, for sure. Like how many clients I get come to me and then I get them eating like double what they usually were. And then they're like, holy shit, I have so much more energy now. I'm like, no kidding, dude. Yeah. Like if you eat more, you're going to be up and about, like moving. Do you know what I mean? Like when you are sitting and you've gotten your body so used to eating pretty much nothing, your body's like, your body's a thing of adaptation. So like if you're going to be like feeding your body nothing, your body's like going to be like, he's not feeding us very often. I'm going to be a lot more conservative with how I spend my energy. So like if you're being more conservative with your energy, then your body starts storing stuff for later and using as minimal as possible. Now, if you start eating a reasonable amount of food, your body starts going, oh, he's feeding me more now. I'm just going to use the energy because we've got it there to spare. Like we don't need to overstore fat because that's not what we need to do. Like it's just and it'll adapt.
I think a lot of the time as well, like we do talk about metabolic adaptation, but it isn't that common. I think a lot of people think they're eating 1,200 calories and they forget to mention the fact that they're eating 3,000 calories on Saturday and Sunday, or they're picking at things here and there through the day that they're not tracking, and those little things add up. So I think, a lot of the time people come to us and they say, oh, I'm on this amount of calories, I'm not losing weight. And it's like, okay, well, let's actually track properly for a few weeks consistently, and you probably will drop weight.
Everything. Track everything.
Everything, like your coffees, everything. And then you will pleasantly be surprised, I would say about 90% of the time.
Yeah. Let me clarify as well, because this question did mention 6 meals versus like not much. If you're talking about like 6 meals a day versus like 1 or 2 meals a day, honestly, if you're talking about body composition, it doesn't fucking matter. Like as long as like whatever you get, however many calories and macros and whatever you're getting in a 24-hour period or even like a week in average, like it's going to be the same. Doesn't matter whether you're having 6 meals a day or you're getting all your calories in one fucking meal, like you're getting that amount of energy in. Now, let me clarify, like you're not going to be as performance efficient. Like if you're eating just 1 meal a day, you're probably going to have that huge meal. You're going to feel bloated, sluggish. Then, your body's going to take a shitload of time, breaking it down. And then like half of it's going to be stored as fat. And then because you're not using it straight away. And then when you do your workout, it's going to be like processing fat instead of carbs, which is less efficient. So like, there are slight benefits to having many meals spaced out, just in terms of, energy efficiency.
I think that's like advanced.
Like that's an advanced thing. Like just you get your calories and your protein and whatever, find out what that number is, refer back to the first part of the podcast.
Yeah, 24-hour period, just get your calories in.
And then just get that in the one day. And that's all you need to do. Don't complicate it, just hit the numbers.
One thing I heard the other day that I thought was really, really interesting, and I hadn't really put much thought to it. Like they do say, just total energy expenditure for the day or energy or calories consumed for the day. And like I know something that I do quite a lot is I'll back end my calories for the end of the day so I can have a big dinner, big dessert. But about the fact that, your NEAT levels will drop during the day and then you're having that spike at the end of the night. So I think that is something to consider, like that you're not doing that every single day, eating 1 or 2 meals in the day and then waiting till 6 and eating, not because you store more fat after that time, but just because you're not going to be having much energy throughout the day to burn calories. So there is things, but it's like we said, that's more like on the comp prep sort of clients. You'd want them to get their meals in certain times of the day because it's going to benefit them more.
There's so many different things you could touch on here and get into the nitty-gritty.
But it's just confusing.
Like if you're a newcomer, keep it simple and just
basics.
Yeah, 100%. Refer to part 1 and leave it there. All right. You got a question?
I do. Okay. I love this question. So this person was saying they struggle with living at home and then eating in moderation at dinner. So I think I've got a few clients that this is their kind of problem is they live at home, they eat sort of what their family eats. Maybe they look after their own breakfast and lunch and then they have dinner with the family. So I think first of all, it's important to recognize your goals and think about how important they are to you and how strict you need to be to get those goals. So if you want to be shredded, like if you want to get down to a certain, if you want to get down to, a certain percent body fat, that's your goal for whatever reasons, then I would say that the dinners with your family are just like you're going to need to sacrifice or you're going to need to plan well.
Help your mum, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
But I know, for instance, like I used to live at home. And my mum would make up these big meals that like they were amazing. Like, and you wouldn't want the rest of the family to miss out and have to eat, broccoli and chicken. And they are hard to track. They are. So I think, first up, you need to recognize, okay, how important to me are my goals? Do I need to just for 12 weeks not enjoy the dinners with my family? If that's the case, then do what you need to do, organize your own foods. But for those of you who aren't that fussed on, dropping too much weight, you don't want to be too serious, but you just want to live a balanced lifestyle and enjoy that time with your family, then what I would suggest doing is leaving us like a designated amount of calories for the afternoon. So say, for instance, you're on 2,000 calories. I would probably suggest leaving around the 600 calorie mark left for dinner, making sure that you're, well on your way to hitting your protein throughout the day. So say your target's 150, get to at least 130. So you've got, that only 20 grams of protein left for the day.
Yep.
And then the rest, you've got those 600 calories to work your dinner in. So if you are tracking, you would have a, pretty good understanding of what kind of foods have contain what kind of calories and macros. Obviously, if, you're having freaking lasagna, don't go ham on the lasagna.
Yeah.
And just sort of eat what you think would be, equated to the 600 calories. Or you could leave yourself more, you could leave yourself less. But I think that's a really good place to start. And then if that doesn't work for you, then you should work on, okay, how can I change it up a little bit to, better suit my goals?
Yeah, for sure. If you're eating anywhere that you can't track your food, be conservative about it. Just overestimate what you think is in that food, Yeah. For me, like when I go out, I'm like so anal about it. Like I will just assume that whatever I'm eating is pure carbs and I'll hit my protein around that. Like, and if that meal means I go over my protein, there's no issues there.
Yeah, that's
You
fine.
can go over your protein. You can go over your protein, but it doesn't matter as long as you don't go over your calories, right?
Yeah, for sure. And when eating out or eating at home, they love to spice foods up to make them better. So I'd always add in, a tablespoon of olive oil or something like that, or butter, just to, overestimate, like Jarrod said. Cool.
All right, cool.
Next.
I've got a few people asking the same question. How do you be constantly motivated to eat healthy all the time, / yo-yo dieting? And then the other person said, not seeing any results, yo-yo.
So the question was,
few people yo-yo
what are your
dieting,
questions and what do you struggle with? So obviously these people are struggling with yo-yo dieting.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, for me, I don't eat fully healthy ever.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest. Like, I mean, like I compete, everything. Health and fitness is my job, but like I don't 100% eat healthy all the time. And if I did, I would 100% yo-yo diet. I'm no better than anyone else. You know what I mean? I would 100% go and like it's happened. I have so much Nutella.
Speaking from experience, he's got a little Nutella in his car. I went into his car the other day and he's got this little tub of Nutella in his little Nutella holder, apparently.
It's a tiny Nutella.
Love that.
It's like a little miniature
I'm
one.
surprised it's still there. That would not be there.
It's a safety net, man. Like you've got like just in case.
What do you mean? Like, does it make you feel safe?
I don't know, man.
You get pulled over and just offer them some Nutella. Is that what you're talking
Please
about?
let me go. And I do get pulled over a lot, unfortunately. Oh man. But yeah, so like I said, like I leave. So basically what I do, here's how I plan my day out, right? Let's just say I've got 3,000 calories. It's not that. It's a lot higher. Yeah. Sorry.
But for
argument's sake, let's say 3,000 calories. And let's just say I have to hit 250 grams of protein, right? Yeah. Because I'm a male. Preferences. The very fucking first thing I'll do, sorry.
Fucking.
Jesus.
Fuck.
Oh, I got really intense there.
That's fine.
The very first thing I'll do is hit my protein. I was telling a client this the other day. Shout out Arnica. She's got a cute dog as well. Anyway, I was telling her protein first, yeah? Because once you got the skeleton in, then you can just add all the shit around it. So once you've hit your protein, you can literally drop anything into your diet at all. So what I tend to do is like, first of all, like I know I'm such a bad like snacker in the middle of the night. So I start counting my calories when I start snacking at night for the next day, right?
Yeah.
That's just my way around it. Like
everyone's
everyone's
so you wake
different.
up in the middle of the night and go eat?
Yeah, dude,
really?
so much. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I get bad sleep and I snack. Yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, so you got to work your diet around your shitty habits or your
judging,
lifestyle.
By the way. I feel like
so,
that was really rude.
No, it's fine. Like I'm not even ashamed.
Okay,
I'm ashamed, but no, I can't help it. I get up in the middle of the night and I'm starving, and I'll just go and I'll snack. No worries. I'll try my best to hold back, but I'll start counting my calories when I start snacking in the middle of the night. So if I eat 1,000 calories, then bad luck. Like tomorrow, I've only got 2,000 calories left to hit my protein. The first thing I do in the morning is map out what foods I'm going to eat that day to hit my protein. So, if that means I've only got 500 calories left, well, bad luck again. Like you've got 500 calories worth of whatever I want to fit in around that. Now, on the other hand, you could do the opposite and plan your day in advance and say, okay, well, I'm going to hit my protein first and then, figure out whatever else you want to eat around those foods and leave 500 calories or 700 calories, whatever you want to, like for you, spare at the end of the day to eat whatever you want, like a little treat or whatever. So if you want to have a maxi bond for dessert or whatever, like, you leave 350 calories in spare. So you know that you have that for later on, you know what I mean? So, but by having these good these little treats every day, I don't feel the need to go out and fucking smash a whole heap of junk on any particular day because I eat junk every day, man. Like, you know what I mean? And I fit it into my daily routine.
Flexible dieting.
Yeah, that's why it is called flexible dieting because, you be flexible and you don't have to yo-yo diet anymore.
Yeah, I think
do unhealthy every day. No, I don't know. Mixed.
We don't advise eating unhealthy every day. Like obviously you're gonna feel like shit if you do that.
Don't do that.
But I think the thing is that I think a lot of people yo-yo diet because they see it as an endpoint and they try to do things that aren't sustainable. So the best diet is one that you can sustain. And sorry, Jarrod just pulled a funny face at me. The best diet is the one that you can sustain. So what we're saying here is that if you flexible diet and still have little treats here and there, you're not going to feel the need to go off your diet. But if you're saying, okay, I'm going to eat 100% healthy, I'm not going to eat anything else, I'm never going to have any chocolate, anything, you're going to cave. And it's not, that's when you're going to go backwards. But if you have it here and there when you're feeling like it, then you're more likely to stick to it. So I think as well, like if you make it more of a lifestyle, you don't have to be motivated all the time. It's just the way you live your life.
Yeah. You don't need to eat salads and chicken and broccoli every day and that's it. And if you do, you're 100% going to yo-yo. Like that sucks.
Majority of
like
people.
I wouldn't stick to that at all. So you got to find the diet that's right for you. I think I said this in the first episode.
Yeah. Find
the plan that's right for you. And it's different for everyone, so.
Yeah, and as for not seeing results, you just need to be patient. Like, for example, I've been on these calories that I just said before, 2,100. I was on them for about 3 weeks before I started noticing drops, and I was sort of getting to a point where I was like, okay, like, what's going on? Like, am I adapting quickly? Like, what's going on? And then finally it started dropping, like the weight started dropping off of me, and that's just when you've just got to be patient. Like, there's no point changing up your calories every week if you're not seeing results. You just need to wait and see how your body responds and just be patient. You need to give it time. Rome wasn't built in a day. So you've got to just, not be in a rush. There's no rush. And when you are in that rush mentality, that's when you fuck it up and you yo-yo diet. So just chill out.
Yeah, boy.
Just chill.
Hit us for the next one.
All right. How did you get out of the mindset of I train hard, now I can eat? So I think this question or this struggle, it is really important to get a basic understanding of energy expenditure and energy balance. So whether that be through your own research or whether it's through getting a coach. So get a basic understanding of just how many calories you are burning in the day. So that's going to be dependent on who you are, how old you are, what your day's like of activity, all that kind of stuff. And then getting also an understanding of, the calories that you are burning during your workouts and things like that. Not getting obsessed with them, but just to put it into perspective And then also tracking for a little while so that you can get a basic understanding of how many calories are in each of the foods. And I think once you get that knowledge, it's just science. Like it's just like, it gives you the evidence to say, okay, like if I went and did 20 minutes on the treadmill, I'm not going to go and have Maccas for dinner, because when you weigh them up, it doesn't even compare. Like it does not even compare at all. Like if you went for, say, an hour run, I'm going to say you'd lose it's about 700 calories you'd burn probably, depending on who it is. And you go out to dinner.
That's so easy
and
to
have
eat
one.
700
say
calories.
If you have a whole pizza, that's like 1,500 calories.
Yeah.
And it's just once you get an understanding of what is in all the foods that you're eating, and how many calories you are burning and how many calories you need to consume on a whole to achieve your goal, it just becomes, it's just knowledge, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just something that you just need to understand.
I say this to my clients all the time because they asked, do I have to track forever? Like, this seems a bit obsessive. I'm like, well, okay, no, you don't. You have to actually, like, this is just an education tool. So, initially, you do have to track for a while because you just have no knowledge on volume and portions and like the numbers that add up. Do you know what I mean? So once you've done it for a while, you'll be able to be like, okay, I know how much is in that, or I can eyeball that amount of cereal or whatever, and I know how many calories is there. But initially, you just have no fucking clue, like how much butter are you putting on your sandwich? Like you probably wouldn't have ever known. Like, so it's just good to get like a foundation of knowledge and like the, some sort of tangible number behind what you're actually putting into your mouth. And then, once you have that foundation of knowledge later on, no, you don't have to track forever. No.
That's it. I think a lot of people would benefit from just spending like even a month tracking. You would learn so much. And something I am constantly checking in with my online clients that track for me is, how their relationship with tracking is going and all that kind of stuff. And I do encourage some of my clients to have a break or, turn away from tracking once they've learnt, the basics of nutrition and energy balance. I've got, one client, for example, she just finished doing a challenge with me. She was tracking, she tracked, she learned all the stuff. And she just said to me afterwards, like, I don't think it's for me. And I'm like, that's fine. Now you know how much you should be eating really, to give yourself energy through the day. And that's fine. Just make good choices. And that's, that's fine. That's totally okay. But it's just, getting that basic understanding to start with so that you're not just running around in circles.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Sweet.
Overthinking tracking. I think we pretty much just talked about that.
Yeah, I love this question though.
Also,
no, it says AKA, what the fuck do I eat? Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so blind. I thought it said also. AKA, what the fuck do I eat? Oh my God, I'm missing out on dinner.
I think it's because in the question box you can't like add in all the words. So they're clearly very confused.
Overthinking tracking.
It is confusing.
Look,
it is confusing.
So first question I would ask my client after they've hit their calories, were you hungry or were you not hungry anymore? Yeah. And like based on that, I'd say, okay, well, here's a range of things that we can change up because, if you're hungry, then you need to eat what's called like more voluminous food, which is foods that are taking up a larger space in your stomach, but they may carry less calories, whereas we talk about calorie dense foods where they don't take up much space in your stomach. They're not going to fill you up, but they have a shit ton of calories in them. So usually like, sugary stuff.
Nutella.
Nutella, straight up Nutella from the car.
What are some good low volume, like high volume foods, low calories? So like things like pumpkin, watermelon.
Yeah, like starch. Like fibrous vegetables and stuff like that. There's a lot of like. This is why you need to track for a little bit, so you start to build a foundation of knowledge behind what foods are those foods, what ones are the voluminous ones, what ones are the calorie dense ones. If you don't know these things, then you're going to have a lot of hard time like fitting in what foods and figuring out which ones. So anyway, what I was saying is like, I would ask them, are you hungry? Are you not hungry? If you are hungry, you need to eat voluminous foods that are going to fill you up more with less calories, So, we're talking vegetables, fruits, all that sort of stuff, And then if you are not hungry and you're, not hitting your calories and, you're like, oh, I can't eat more than this. Like, this is crazy. Start eating more, calorie dense foods. Like, I have quite a few male clients at the moment who, I've their calories up because, you know, you want to get bigger, then you got to eat more, you know. So a lot of the times the guys have that problem. So, yeah, you got to start eating more calorie dense foods. And like, oh, like, what? Can I eat chocolate?
What do you mean?
Yeah, of course you can. Like, it's all energy at the end of the day. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're just eating chocolate and garbage, then you need to somehow, you know, substitute some micronutrient dense foods in there as well, you know. Like, if you're skipping out on all the vegetables because it's taking up too much room in your stomach and you can't eat more food because of it, then you need to supplement a multivitamin or something if you're going to do that, you know. So
sure.
Yeah, there's many different problems when it comes to what do I eat, and the answer is basically like it depends.
Whatever you want, really.
Yeah, it depends what stage of your what stage of your training or, you know, cutting or building that you're at, and then how hungry you are, and, you know, also what you like to eat.
That's it. I think people try to overcomplicate it and think they need to eat certain foods, but at the end of the day, just, you know, eating what you like to eat. If it's on the higher calorie end and you're trying to lose weight, then in moderation. And this person also said, oh my God, I'm missing out on dinner. So I think a good key here would just be organization. So if you're tracking, you know, planning out your day the day before so that you're making sure you're getting all your meals, all that kind of stuff. And then, just making sure you're hitting all your targets.
This person needs to be eating more volume.
Throughout the day. So if you are getting to the end of the day and you don't have enough calories for dinner, then you should maybe space out your meals a bit more, eat higher volume foods like Jarrod just said, and just be a little bit smarter. Definitely. But if you are like really struggling, definitely reach out to one of us and we can give you a few pointers, because I know it, you know, we work with our online clients. If they're, you know, getting used to tracking or learning tracking, we work really closely with them to help them with the process, because it is confusing. I remember when I first was learning, I was like, what is going on? So definitely reach out and I would suggest that because it can be confusing.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. All right. Last question, hey?
101.
No self-control. How do I stop eating all the foods?
Oh, please tell me how to.
So, look, it is hard.
Can you tell me, please?
And I think with a lot of foods that are out there, they are freaking addictive, and it is hard to have self-control. So I think if you are someone who is like finding it hard to control yourself, I would say, first of all, let's look at our environment. What foods do we have in the house? If you have foods that you really just can't control yourself on, first up, there's probably some underlying issues that you need to look at, and I'll go into that soon. But first of all, take it out of the equation, get it out of the house. Not saying you can't have it like at all, but, you know, for instance, I know I used to really struggle with not eating all the granola in my thing, so I just stopped buying granola. You know, there's other foods that I enjoyed that I didn't have that problem with, so I just substituted them for that. But I think with the no self-control thing, a lot of people would benefit from being a little bit more mindful in all areas of life, especially while you're eating. So if you are eating, get off your phone, stop watching TV, stop talking to people, enjoy your food that you're eating. And then I find a lot of the time, if you actually do take the time to chew your food, and then you will, you know, feel fuller and not feel the urges to, you know, go ham, definitely. But I think, there are a lot of underlying issues that can make people not have self-control with food, a lot of like binge eating, overeating, all that sort of stuff. Is a lot of underlying things. A lot of it can come from shame, emotions they're trying to hide. So I would really suggest, if anyone is finding it hard to control themselves around food, to draw it back and be like, okay, what am I kind of suppressing here? I know for me in the past, I've had trouble with binge eating. And one thing that I found super helpful, I'll just put it out there, I'm not a doctor. And if you are really, really struggling, I would suggest going to get help, but just bringing it back and saying, okay, what feelings am I trying to mask here? So I know a lot of the time, you know, if you're a little bit upset or you're feeling a little bit lonely, you might turn to food, and then let's look at, you know, tackling that issue first. So, you know, for instance, if you are feeling a bit lonely, maybe you can reach out to a friend instead. Maybe you can go call your mum or something like that. So just really drawing it back and, digging a little bit deeper and trying to figure out why you've got no self-control. I think a lot of people would benefit from that, because there's definitely like a lot of work that can go into that. Because it should be, you know, ultimately it is hard, but, you know, you should be able to be around food and have food in the house and not go crazy on it.
Now, if we're talking also like no self-control in terms of like the weekend and that, because there is some definite people who just have no self-control with the weekend and that. Like, you know, it's also just a big product of like, you know, if you got a goal and like the people you're hanging out with aren't supporting your goal, or not conscious of like what you're trying to achieve or whatever, or not supporting you, find new friends, like hang out with some different people, you know, someone who is going to support you or understand, you know, if you're trying to lose weight and then, you know, your friends are dragging you out on the piss every weekend or multiple times a week or out to dinners and they don't understand when you say no or they try and pressure you or whatever, then, you know, they're not find new friends that are going to support you, you know, because if that's important to you to reach your goals and that and they don't understand that, then that's a big problem also.
Yeah, 100%. And also I think I mentioned it earlier, like reassessing just how important your goal is to you. Like if you want to lose weight and you really just like, you know, you give in easily to food, it takes practice. Like, and if you really want to get that goal, just keep practicing it. Like, you know, you might have a slip up and then you'll learn from it and then you'll go again. You know, I know for me, every single time like I have a little slip up, it just gets easier and easier to bounce back from. And just not, you know, if you do derail, say you have a little bit of an overeating sesh or whatever, just saying, okay, not waiting till the next day, not waiting till Monday, just getting back on the track and just keep at it and just, you know, keep pushing and not, you know, letting it turn into a whole week or a whole month, but just, you know, keep getting back on track and not starting from square one.
Yeah. I think another thing which I posted up on my story, I think last week is like, you know, good habits are formed the same way as bad habits are. And it's just doing a certain thing over and over and over and over. And trust me, like, yeah, it's going to be hard. The first time you say no to something, it's going to be hard. It's going to take effort.
Yeah.
But you say no once, the second time it gets a bit easier and it gets 100%. A bit easier and it gets a bit easier. You find yourself like 2 weeks in after saying no a half a dozen times or more, it's going to get so much easier to be like, you know what, I've said no for 2 weeks. Why the fuck would I say yes now? Because I'm just breaking that streak of 2 weeks that I just worked hard for. You know, I have a little thing on my wall. Bonnie, it was your idea actually when I reached out for you because I was like, you know, I'm in this bad habit of just like, you know, I had all these things that I wanted to do each day, but I was like, they weren't really getting done. I wasn't really prioritizing them. And you said, I'd make this little habit tracker sheet that I put on my wall. And I was like, first of all, I was like, that's gay. And then I was like, no, that actually may work. And
look at you now.
I think, now I'm a sucker for it. So I guess
you've got it on a spreadsheet, you little fucker.
How many people have Snapchat and they have that little fucking fire streak going? And like I guarantee some of you listening will be like, oh yeah, like I've got a 1,000-day streak with my fucking
my brother sends me a
Snapchat
and goes streaks. I'm like, leave me alone.
Yeah. But like how many of you are actually addicted to sending a Snapchat every day just because you don't want to break that streak? Now this is exactly the same principle. So what we did, or what Bonnie told me to do, was get this little table and write out all my little things for each day. And each day I go and physically cross it off my list. And then I'll have this big table full of red crosses and I'll get to day 4 and I'll be like, I couldn't be fucked doing that day. And then I'll look up on my table and be like, but I want to cross it off because my OCD kicks in. I mean,
your brain loves that shit. Your brain loves it.
Oh, mind frosted. I'm like, I can't miss that fucking one little square is going to piss me off. So I'm like, I'm just going to do it, you know, make my bed, fucking read for 30 minutes, whatever it is that's on my habit tracker sheet. I'll upload it again this week on my story actually. But
do it.
Yeah. And then, I just cross that off each day. And that just keeps me doing those things, like I said, repetitive over and over and over and over. And that will create good habit, you know, just like a bad habit is formed, a good habit is formed through repetition. So if you're having trouble saying no, write it up on the table even. Just be like, say no once this week.
Yeah,
100%. And then tick it off every time you do it. Every day that you say no to something, tick it off. And like I guarantee you, after like 7, 8, 9, 10 times of doing it, it's going to get so much easier because you're going to be like, oh, well, I did this 10 days in a row. You just put your calendar up on the wall and cross off every day that you say no to something that's affecting your goal, you know, and you will get addicted to crossing those days off, you know. So give it a go.
I don't know what I'm trying to say, but never mind. And yeah, so if you are having self-control issues with food, you know, one of your points on that habit tracker could be eat mindfully today. You know, we're not saying, you know, you don't have to be perfect, but just eat mindfully. And I think another good point to say, to add to that habit tracker, if that's something you're looking into doing, something that will help with self-control is adding a few like mental toughness tasks on there. So as Jarrod was saying, you know, it takes practice, but also like building up that strength in your mind by doing, you know, maybe challenging things. So say, for instance, things like, meditating that you might not want to do, even like cold showers, doing like a hard task. So say, think about, one of the tasks that you just fucking hate doing, put it on there, because if you get into the habit of doing shit you don't like, you're going to build up that mental toughness. And then, having self-control, saying no, doing all that kind of stuff just becomes easier and easier the more mentally tough you get. So that's something I would definitely look at doing, is slowly sort of, challenging yourself and, putting yourself out of your comfort zone, because it all adds up.
Contrastingly to that, put some easy shit on there so that you can tick that off and get that nice little feeling at the start of the day that you've actually completed something, and it's like that will drive you to want to do more.
You don't want to go on there and have 20 points straight up.
Don't have a whole heap of hard stuff, but have a mixture of both so that you can start crossing stuff off and then be like, oh, fuck, but I have that hard one there.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's the idea.
Beautiful.
I think that's awesome. That's our last question.
We're all done.
We're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap this bitch
Thank
up.
you for listening to episode 3
of
Bants and Burgers, or Bants and Burritos, I guess.
Bants and Burritos. I think next week's training.
I feel like I broke the rules here, sort of. It. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, it's our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
Deal with it.
Next week, training podcast. Let's
training
do it.
next week. So,
cool.
We're going to get you guys to submit all your questions on training, and we're going to do something very similar to this week where we just run through them, and hopefully we can give you some tips and tricks. So anything that you guys want to know on training, I'm sure Bonnie will put something up. I'll put something up. If you guys want to get in there, answer the questions, and
sweet.
We'll see you next time.
See ya. Did you fart at the end?
We're still recording, you idiot.